So when you're talking about the objective of foreign policy, we have, you know, so many types of objectives of foreign policy. We have what we call self-preservation, security, prosperity, prestige. You know, these are the objectives of foreign policy. So what do we mean by self-preservation? This has to do with the protection of a country's independent sovereignty and territorial integrity. This is generally, believed to be one of the core national interests of all states that most people agree on. States will be ready to fight in order to achieve these objectives and we seek annexation. So self-preservation. There's what we call sovereignty. So sovereignty is the absolute power of the state to exercise supreme legal authority within its territorial division without any form of external control or influence. So what we're saying there is that by self-preservation, it is the core national interest of a country. So a country will not joke with its self-preservation, and the country is ready to fight or be able to defend its territorial integrity in order to resist what we call annexation. So that is one of the factors, or that is one of the objectives of what we call foreign policy. Then the second objective of foreign policy is security. So states also seek security in their foreign policy. This is seeking an atmosphere in the national system where the survival of the state and its citizens can be guaranteed, and where the existence of the state is not threatened both internally and externally. So a nation will what? One of the core objectives of a foreign policy is the security of a nation. So a state will be ready to secure itself against any form of attack, be it internally or externally. And that's one of the reasons why countries form alliances like NATO, Warsaw Pact. Though Warsaw Pact is no longer in existence, we have a lot of them. ECOMON, for example, too, is also an example of this security that we're talking about. Then prosperity, which is the third one. So we have mentioned, self-preservation, security. The next one is what we call prosperity. Every state desires prosperity. Every state desires prosperity. And one of the cardinal objectives of a state is prosperity. So the objective of prosperity implies that the economic well-being of a state and seek to improve the material condition of participating states. In history, Europe states have achieved this objective through plunder, looting, slave trade, and their colonialism. They fought many wars during the mercantilism era to achieve this. This has, however, been replaced with neo-colonialism, where institutions like IMF, World Bank, London, and the Paris Club and multinational corporations are used to achieve these goals for the developed countries. The third world countries, they have called for international economic order as a means of achieving this objective. There's also relies on foreign aid, grant and loans and so many of them. You understand? So that's what we're saying here. So what we're saying there is that when you talk about prosperity, a lot of European countries have actually used prosperity. They have actually fought many wars, to achieve prosperity. They've actually plundered, looted. They have introduced slave trade. They have also introduced colonialism. They have also introduced neo-colonialism. They have also introduced imperialism. They have also introduced what we call globalization to achieve all these aims and objectives. So that's what we're talking about there. Then the last one is what we call prestige. Prestige. We've mentioned the self-preservation, security, prosperity. The next one is what we call prestige. This is status-seeking objective where states seek to impress others or gain a respectable position in the world community. Prestige enables states to influence a world event. Prestige simply means what? Self-respect. A state aspires to achieve a prestige by what? By seeking respect from other countries, where they will give them that respect. They'll give them that prestige that they intended to have. And because of this prestige, they have a way of influencing activities as it relates to the events that happen all over the world. So because of the command that they have been able to garner to themselves, they have been able to influence the world events. This can come from such variables like leadership quality, economic power, ideology. In most cases, prestige is consciously, sought by states and does not even come accidentally. Nigeria used Festac, if you remember, 1977, Festac 1977 to pursue this objective, while Cameroon has been using soccer. You understand? So this objective is often costly and dangerous to the economy. You understand? To the economy. So that is it. So we've mentioned 4 objectives of foreign policy. We mentioned self-preservation, security, prosperity, and prestige. Now, what are the instruments of foreign policy? Number 1, we have what we call diplomacy. Before we go into that, what do we mean by instrument? The instrument of foreign policy are the tools that states can employ in order to achieve their objectives. So instruments are what? Are the foreign policies that are employed by states in order to achieve their objectives. We have what we call diplomacy, which is number 1. Diplomacy. This is the use of persuasion and negotiation by states in dealing with other states. That is diplomacy. So when you talk about diplomacy, you're talking about the use of persuasion, negotiation between state actors. You understand? It tries to convince other states that it is gainful to agree rather than to disagree with the state concerned. It is carried out between government officials and representatives like diplomats, envoys, external affairs managers, and even head of state. So there are different types of diplomacy. We have what we call personal diplomacy. We have ad hoc diplomacy. Personal diplomacy includes the visit of head of state, foreign ministers, and top officials to improve relations between states. So that's what my personal diplomacy. Then what do you mean by ad hoc diplomacy? Ad hoc diplomacy is where there's temporary international meetings, it's talking about where temporary international meetings are summoned between states in order to resolve an issue. International meetings are done when you're talking about ad hoc diplomacy. E.g., for example, the meeting between the Iraqi and the foreign U.S. foreign secretaries to discuss the Gulf crisis in January 1991. So these are examples of what we call ad hoc diplomacy. Now, then we have what we call traditional diplomacy. It involves the exchange of ambassadors and high commissioners between states and establishment of embassy in other states, aimed at representing their own government. So the ambassadors in question are able to maintain what we call friendly relations. That is what we call traditional diplomacy. Then lastly, we have what we call conference diplomacy. It refers to the permanent delegations at the international organizations such as UNO, where all member states have permanent representatives. So there are also representatives at the specialized organs of the United Nations. So when you're talking about a conference diplomacy, we are talking about where there's a permanent delegations of member states, where they have their delegation in international organizations. An example which I've used there is what we call the United Nations organizations. So what we have 3 instruments that we have mentioned here. We have mentioned what we call diplomacy. We mentioned traditional diplomacy. Then we also mentioned what we call conference diplomacy. So on this talk, we're going to end the topic on what we call diplomacy. My name once again is David Oni, and my YouTube channel is David Oni Wiz. We want to use this medium to encourage you to subscribe to our channel. David Oni Wiz on YouTube. The Wiz there is Wiz, W-I-Z. Please subscribe to this channel. Click on the notification button so that you can be the first to receive our videos when it is being uploaded on the internet. And also leave your comment behind on how to serve it better. And apart from this, you can also click on the like button to like our videos. Till we meet next time, thank you and God bless you. Please subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification. Leave your comment and also click on the like button. Till we meet next time, thank you and God bless. Bye bye.